everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Jays Today show, everybody. Where today, guys, we've got some upcoming Blue Jays moves that are going to happen today and some that have already happened. We're going to break them down. We're going to preview what exactly are they and what does this mean for the Blue Jays moving forward. Are we loving it? Are we hating it? We'll talk about it. And as well, Chris Bassitt yesterday got destroyed. I think he gave up six runs and seven total. 6 in the first inning is where I was kind of going there. So after that whole performance, it was, oh God, what's going on with Chris Bassitt? What happened to him? Well, he came out and apparently he made an excuse as to why his sinker wasn't moving as much and why he got destroyed. We'll get into it more and all that. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Paleolog. Yeah, moves are coming, everybody. We've been speculating for a while as to what they're going to do in this audition season, because that is where we're at right now. You know, everybody's getting their opportunity, some guys more than others. We just saw Luis de los Santos get his opportunity, but it was short-lived, folks. He got his
Poor guy.
He got his first hit, actually went 2 for 4. I believe yesterday. One of them was super fluky. Honestly, probably could have been an error, but the other one was absolutely, undeniably an MLB hit. So he actually looked pretty good yesterday. And then got the news when he came back to the dugout or to the locker room or whatever. Yeah, sorry, kid, you're going back down to the minor leagues, and they're going to be bringing up somebody else instead. So everybody's getting their opportunity right now. From what I heard, or what he heard and told the media, was like they're just trying to bring in as many faces as possible, get as many looks as possible, because again, it is audition season, and we've got to know what we have out of all of these guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny, man, how De Los Santos gets his first MLB hit and gets sent down. That for me feels like a predetermined decision. Even if he went 4 for 4 with like a homer, 2 homers, and it's like
you think if he went 4 for 4 with a couple homers,
knowing this management, because they already make decisions beforehand.
That is true. You know, you'd think that if anybody goes 4 for 4 with a couple homers or whatever, like has literally the perfect game, that should warrant something. But keeping in mind, Ross Atkins and John Schneider are at the helm, so you never freaking know. Will Wagner is the player that we're talking about here coming up. You might recognize his name because he was involved in one of the trades this past trade deadline. Entered into the prospect system. I believe he is ranked 21st in our prospect system. So again, you know, not a super highly touted guy or anything like that. Not a top 10. Probably doesn't have the ceiling of ever becoming a star player, or maybe even a starter, because keeping in mind, this guy is 26 years old. However, you do need some bench guys. You do need some depth. It feels like that is what Will Wagner could provide at one point in his MLB career. For
sure. And again, I like to say this. Everyone likes to get really high on these AAA guys when they perform really well. Hey, it's you've earned the spot on the Major League roster based on how you've been performing. And he's been performing very good. Since coming to Toronto, this is a small sample size of 7 games. Since coming to Toronto, he is batting .400 with an OPS of 1.116 with a homer. But the entire AAA season, very good numbers. A high batting average of .315 with an OPS of .876. So if this guy, obviously you got to reduce these numbers a bit. If he looks like a high contact type of hitter that the Blue Jays really enjoy. Doesn't steal a lot of bases, but look at that strikeout to walk ratio. 59 walks to 37 strikeouts. Is this not a Toronto Blue Jay in your mind?
Well, it feels to me like he's in that weird spot where the prospect pedigree is not a super high caliber player, but it's clear. I mean, at 26 years old and with what you're doing right now in AAA, you probably don't belong down there either, right? So you're kind of in that weird spot right now where it's like, well, we got to figure out if you are actually an MLB player, or if you're just, the ceiling of ceilings for you is that you're just going to end up being a stud minor leaguer, we're just going to keep you down there for depth. So I think that's what this is. You got a month and a half left of baseball. I think it's 44 more games to play for the Toronto Blue Jays. You're looking at everybody that you just brought in. I mean, John Schneider probably still needs to familiarize himself with Will Wagner. What does this guy bring to my squad? What can he do for my team? We just traded for him a week ago or so, So I think it's, again, audition season. I'm excited to see him because he is a higher caliber prospect than a Luis de los Santos. That being said, though, I'm not getting my hopes overtly high that he's going to be the next guy for us.
No. I mean, you got to look at the team as well, right? And who it actually is going to be playing on the Toronto Blue Jays team, and where is he going to get his playing time? Because right now he's a first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, if you've been a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays, you'll know that we have a ton of infield depth, everybody. I mean, when you look at the Toronto Blue Jays roster right now, they actually did remove De Los Santos, or Luis De Los Santos already, guys. So, rip. I'm sorry, Luis. But if you look at the infielders, obviously you got Ernie Clement, and it feels like they're kind of giving Ernie Clement as much playing time as possible. He's an everyday third baseman, 5-hole hitter. So he's kind of locked himself in a spot there. Obviously, Vladdy and Horwitz are kind of sharing that first base, and then if Vladdy's out there, Horwitz is over to second, and then until Bo comes back, it's Leo Jimenez's spot at shortstop. So you're looking around this infield, you're going, okay, well, where exactly is a Will Wagner going to play? Well, right out of the gate, I don't think he's going to have a lot of playing time. I mean, the other guy that could be playing at third base, right, would be Addison Barger.
Well,
so
I want to cut you off there a
go
little
ahead.
bit and just say, I mean, that to me is a big piss off, right? The fact that, I know we've been talking about this, like Addison Barger's been playing out of his skin over the last month, and he's not getting nearly enough playing time.
Right.
And so you bring up a Will Wagner. You want to get your top prospects in here and you want to get them opportunities. If you can't even give Addison Barger opportunities, like I don't want it to be a situation where Will Wagner now is splitting the small slice of pie that Addison Barger has. Because I think it should be going to Addison Barger with the way that he's playing and with the prospect pedigree that he provides.
Now, granted, there is an opportunity where I was kind of going there is you could have an opportunity to move Ernie Clement over to shortstop. Because Leo Jimenez, I mean, you got the stats right there. He hasn't been stellar. He's been okay. I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's hit a few doubles here and there. But, Leo Jimenez has had enough of an audition, 62 at-bats. Like, this is what we mean by audition. Like, that's how many at-bats you're going to get in audition season. And it's been okay. Let's get somebody else into the room, quote-unquote, if we're talking auditions, and see what they have to offer. So maybe you could see an Ernie Clement move over to shortstop. We know he's good playing there. If you're still going to have Horwitz and Mr. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on the right side of the diamond, maybe you could sneak in a more Addison Barger playing time, or maybe even put in a little bit of Will Wagner. Like, let's say you have Ernie play a little bit more short. Well, think about another guy who's struggling right now, which is David Schneider. I got a video coming out about him tomorrow.
Right.
If he reduces playing time or he gets sent down eventually, well, then maybe there's some room where you could maybe see Addison Barger playing left field, and then it opens up more spots. So there is a realm. But we have to see that adjustment first. I think some dominoes have to fall in order for this move to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're going to have to move a lot of pieces. Now, going back to Leo Jimenez right here, absolutely been struggling in MLB, especially in the last month here, not been doing great. I think if you're going to reduce the playing time, like with somebody who, because he's ranked 6th right now in our prospect system, and that's actually somebody who you can get a little bit excited about. I'm not about to tell you that this guy's going to become an all-star or anything like that.
Right.
But one day the hope is you could maybe be a starter in MLB. You could play innings for us, right? You could do stuff. I think if you're going to reduce the playing time, like somebody of that caliber, I almost want you to send him down. And so then he can get, full playing time and keep going and keep developing. I just don't think it's really helpful for these players right now, especially these young guys. Like, yes, they're getting the payday, and I'm sure they love being in the show and being up there with the Jays. But if you're really building your future on these players, which at this point you are certainly doing, trying to be competitive in 2025, and you trade for all these prospects, all this shit, I think you want to give them the most reps possible, especially the ones that are higher in your system. So Leo Jimenez, if he's going to get moved over from short and he's going to have to be splitting time with Will Wagner and Barger and whatever else, I would almost consider, sending him down just so he can play every single day at the AAA level.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. If you look over at the team right now, I mean, look at the guys who could probably go down. It's like you're saying, Leo Jimenez. I mean, Stuart Burrow is just rotting on this roster. I mean, I don't think we have any hopes of Stuart
I haven't seen that guy in it feels like weeks, man.
Dude, he's at the bottom of the totem pole. He's our backup outfielder, pinch runner. He's rotting, but I guess that's just what his role is.
And again, for him, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
because
he doesn't
Stuart
have any.
Burrow is not a a big player
prospect
for us. It's like a Leo Jimenez and Addison Barger. These are players of the future. I want to see them in there. I want to see them getting reps. I want to see them doing work, especially in these games that mean literal nothing. Baroa, I'm sorry, my guy. Enjoy your paycheck. I'm sure it's phenomenal, but this is your role.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like his spot on the roster, you could be like, oh, let's replace him with somebody else. Well, then what is that person going to do? The same role, rot on the bench. You know what I mean? Like, so he's probably going to stay with the team. There is David Schneider. And again, I am making a video about this tomorrow. I'm actually don't talk about this in the video. We talked about this last week, where it might be time for David Schneider to go just figure something go figure something out in AAA, in the minor leagues. Go work on your craft, work on your mechanics, and try and catch the high heat, because he just cannot do it, man. I mean, again, I'm breaking it down tomorrow, but like looking against JP Sears, dude had a 91 mile per hour fastball and he could not hit that.
Right.
That's how you know you got to go figure something out. So maybe he could leave the roster. That opens up a lot more playing opportunities as well.
Yeah, especially, again, like Addison Barcia right now is being listed as an outfielder, right?
Yeah, literally.
We saw him in game 1, head into that left field area and obviously struggle immensely. But if Dave Schneider was to be sent down and just, so he can work stuff out, that automatically opens up the door for now Addison Barcia to get into that left field spot, day in and day out. Now he can get regular reps and really see what he's got going on. Can this guy be somebody that we started up in the show in 2025? Because right now you're looking at the team, and other than a couple staples locked in guys, right? Your Guerrero, your Bo, if again he's not traded and he's healthy, right? Because there's obviously a lot of stuff going on there. But your Guerrero, your Bo Bichette, your George Springer due to a contract, your Alejandro Kirk
due to necessity.
Like, after that, I'm starting to struggle at who is really locked in for 2025. Varsho, excuse me, you're right. Yeah. I forgot about Varsho.
We always forget about
Varsho. But after that, you start to enter that territory where it's like, well, who is going to be on our team? Is it going to be Horwitz? Now, he's kind of starting to fall off a little bit. He had a good game the other day, but like starting to go downwards a bit. Ernie Clement is looking like a guy, but, are you going to start the season with him as your starting second baseman or what? Like, is that what we're doing here? Like, I just feel like there's so many question marks still here, and it comes to a point where, especially later in the season, you got to start planning a little bit for, well, who is actually going to be up on the squad in 2025? Let's get them accustomed to the role and see if they can do it. I think Addison Barcia could be one of those players.
And you know what? If I'm John Schneider, and he's going to manage the team however he wants, but if I'm John Schneider, you will have to make a decision, I think, by the end of August to say, okay, for the rest of the year, I am going to start to solidify these guys as almost everyday players. So he's kind of done that with Spencer Horwitz. Spencer Horwitz is probably leading the pack out of all these audition guys because of how good he's been this year.
Yeah.
But he needs to start solidifying that with other positions as well, right? You have to make a decision like, is Addison Barcia going to play every single day? Because what I need to know going into next year is I need to see a larger sample size in order to feel good in this offseason making certain moves. So if I know, like, okay, clearly we have so many holes everywhere, we got to go get free agents and lock them in. But if I lock in, let's say, Addison Barcia at third base, left field, utility kind of spot, and he's actually good, well, then I can feel a little bit more comfortable not going out, letting that spot be and not going and addressing it in free agency and maybe addressing some other areas that haven't been as good. So but if he does this like splitting playing time all the way down, you can't really know what these guys are going to be like when you play every single day in a full 162.
No, I agree, right? And I feel like some of the, some of the guys, like the jury is still out on a lot of these players right now. You do need a bit more playing time. So I hear where you're coming from in the sense of, okay, well, Leo Jimenez, not doing that great right now.
He's had the playing time every day,
but there's, like a couple other guys here where I'm just like, I don't know. I have no idea what I can expect from you moving forward and what it's going to be. So, I mean, I feel like there's going to be so many roster moves incoming as well, just because, you're going to get the September guys coming up and everything like that. We are planning for the future. I see some people in the chat talking about Joey Loperfido and, what he could mean for this team moving forward. Obviously, very small sample size so far with Toronto. There's some people getting on him in the chat, some people kind of defending him, being like, guys, he's been with the team for a week and a half. Let's give him a break. I would err on that side as well. He's been with the team for literally a week and a half. Give the kid a bit of a break. You would like to see something from him, though, because I think that he is kind of in that same Addison Barcia tier where you got a shot at having a role next year if you can play yourself into it.
And just because he got traded to the team doesn't mean we should look at him any differently like an Addison Barcia role. And I think he's earned the time because he got traded over and we invested, a Yusei Kikuchi asset into this guy.
Yeah.
So he's earned, like what I would say, an audition slot. 62, 70 at-bats. You've earned it. Show me what you can do in that time frame. And then if September rolls around and you're still kind of scuffling, well, Let's see what else we can get. Maybe let's move Barger out there. You know, we got to think about that. Who other guys? We got to give them an opportunity too. We can't just die. Maybe you could die on a hill if you really like a guy or you really believe in a guy, but we can't do that with these young guys. You have to give everybody a chance to prove it.
I can promise you that you can die on a hill because we're dying on multiple hills right now.
I guess if you look at it that way.
Yeah, we're dying on so many.
dying.
I mean, the Varsho Hill has been dead, and George Springer Hill is falling apart. You know, like we are dying on multiple hills. I don't want us to continue to do that, but you know, the Toronto Blue Jays have a tendency to do so. Before we move on and talk about some other stuff, the one final name that I kind of wanted to bring up, just in terms of potential incoming roster moves. Jake Bloss had himself a nice outing the other day. Small, limited outing. I think it was 2.2 innings pitched, I think it was. No earned runs, so just solid performance there. Apparently he's looking really good down there in the minors. And I know that people were talking about him, hey, like he was in the majors before. This is a top prospect for us. Our pitching staff, which is going to be the next thing of conversation here, is fucking decimated. Jake Bloss could use for a little audition time. Yeah,
I think his time will come for sure. Right now the rotation it's full if you consider, because Bowden Francis has become our fifth guy. And what's kind of funny is like the moment he becomes our fifth guy, he actually starts performing well. We'll break him down a little bit later, but he's been pretty good in the last few outings. So we'll see. Maybe September he gets called up. Maybe we start shutting some older guys down, like a Bassitt or a Gosman or whoever. Maybe there's some injuries here and there. You want to call up a Jake Bloss to fill in one of those spots. I do want to just bring up to know, when this move happens, Will Wagner, I could be wrong about this, but I just looked at the 40-man roster. It appears there's 40 guys on here, and Will Wagner is not one of them on the 40-man roster. So there might be an incoming roster move off the 40-man. Right. And if you guys know, if you get cut from the 40-man, you have to go through waivers. So that's a pretty significant move if you're calling up Will Wagner, which also adds to the fact where you have to find this guy playing time if you're making that kind of move.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna get rid of an asset, and we were talking about before, right? Like, well, the easy one is like a Stuart Burrow, because it's like, well, he's not doing anything for you. But then again, like, are you really gonna bring Will Wagner into the team to also do nothing for you, and just to sit on the bench with Addison Barger and all these other guys and be like, oh, we're not doing shit. So it's actually, it'll be an interesting discussion who that guy's going to be. I feel like a Nathan Lucas potentially could be somebody.
Nathan Lucas.
You got to imagine it's going to be a hitter of some kind. Would they get rid of
Louis?
Like,
I don't know. That'd be such a slap in the face.
But you're going to see a move coming relatively soon there to fill in for Will Wagner, everybody, and hopefully some more prospects on the way as well. I personally would love to see a Jake Bloss before the season is done, because again, like, looking at this pitching staff, I mean, they want to be competitive in 2025, and I don't see any way that you possibly can do that unless you go out and you bring in some additional pitchers. And I mean, one way to quote unquote bring in an additional pitcher is to get somebody from your internal prospect system. We were hoping it would be Bowden Francis. Maybe he catches magic in a bottle, but before the season's over.
My prediction's right.
But Jake Bloss could be at least one of those players.
Hey, guys, they did add a pitcher, though, Nick. They did. Huge pitcher ad over on the Diamondbacks. We got him, guys. Blue Jays claim pitcher off waivers from those Snakes. It is, and let me try to get the pronunciation here. It is Louis Frias. Frias.
There you go.
Negative WAR this season, an ERA of 9.95. Only 7 games, though. Give him a little bit of time. He might get cooking. WHIP of 2.368. That's a really high number. He, again, like many other guys that we've added to this 40-man roster, is depth. Louis Frias, Yerry Rodriguez, and where's our boy that we pitched the other day? Nance. Tommy Nance. All those guys are just so that we can fill up spots in our minor league team or in our 40-man roster, fill up our depth in case something happens. And we're just trying to get warm bodies in to pitch in the season. So that's what happens. So if you see that guy, just know that's who he is. Don't expect anything. That's who he is.
It's really, like, it's kind of the devil in me a little bit is happy to watch as Ross Atkins has to struggle to find these, no-name players from waivers and small trades and whatever to fill out the rest of this roster, because it's almost like I hope he's learning his lesson to go out and address this in the off season when you should be doing that? Because we were talking about how it's like, well, we could use some more pitching depth and we could use some more bullpen guys. And what if there's an injury? And lo and behold, there's multiple injuries and multiple underperformances. Obviously, at this point, we traded away a couple guys as well. But I mean, it's abundantly clear that for next season, you're looking at 5 to 6 to 7 additions into that bullpen, right?
Whether it be internal or external, you got to make.
We need multiple players coming in, not just warm bodies, but people that can actually throw and get out.
People who can pitch. Yeah. These guys just throw.
That's it.
You know what I mean? You might as well put me out there.
For real, So, great that you were addressing this now, but can we please do it in the offseason when it's necessary?
Yeah, because, guys, we always been gassing up this pitching staff, saying it's one of the best. And rightfully so. I think last year we were very good, the starting staff and the bullpen. But this year, obviously, it's a different story. You tweeted this out this morning talking about that comparison between last year and this year of the starting rotation. Yeah. And it is drastically different, everybody. Looking over here, I mean, you can clearly see the difference of performances with the ERA, the whip, the batting average. I mean, ERA is up from 3.85 last year to 4.34, whip of 1.26 to 1.3. That's not so bad, but, it's still there. But the big one, obviously, batting average against is a little bit higher. That's gonna play out a little bit more when you go from 245 to 252. A little bit of improvements. What do you kind of take away from this? A little bit of a regression, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, we're just regressing in every single category, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I mean, for me, the big one is ERA, because that's the runs that are coming in right now. You are giving up half a run extra in 2024 than you're giving up in 2023. And I can assure you that your offense is not making up the difference, right?
Nope.
This was supposed to be the biggest strength of the Toronto Blue Jays. And I didn't add it in because I thought it would just get really confusing and everything like that. But the ranks as well. That ERA was third in baseball in 2023 among starters. And then now we're down at 21. Right. Wow. So even though the margin there it's only 0.4 or 0.5 or whatever the math works out to be right there. It is a difference of 20 spots in MLB's overall ranking. So that is very, very significant. This starting pitching staff, there is so much money in it right now when you think about Jose Barrios and Yariel Rodriguez and Gausman and Bassitt and there's so much money, and we're probably going to need to put more money into it this offseason to even have a chance. This is something that absolutely needs to dramatically improve in 2025 to have any hope at all of competing.
Oh, I agree. I mean, and again, we have to also face reality. I'm starting to come to face reality a little bit. Look, we got to look at the ages a little bit here, guys. Bassitt's 35, right? He will be 36 next year. Is there a bit of regression there? Possibly. Jose Barrios, he's 30, still in the prime of his career. I have a little more hope with Jose Barrios that he could be 31 next year and still dominant. Kevin Gausman, though, is going to be 34. Now we're starting to talk a little bit, and obviously you look at guys like Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander and these elite pitchers who do it, well into their 40s and the late 30s. But those are the superstars.
Those are Hall of Famers.
Those are Hall of Famers, and no disrespect, Kevin Gausman, he ain't a Hall of Famer, right? He figured it out halfway through his career. So, is it potentially we're looking over the hump and we're going down the hill of regression? Possibly. You look at the advanced metrics. We broke this down before. Gausman's stuff plus, and as well, Jose Barrios, it's falling down in the last few years. So maybe this could be over the hump, and you're right. Unless somebody breaks out internally, this is our pitching staff, and these guys are going to have to lead the charge, or we're going to have to go buy another huge guy this offseason, which is even more money, which is scary. It's a scary thought.
Yeah, it is, right? And you think about that pitching staff as well, right? Who's internally grown?
None.
Not a single other than Bowden Francis.
Yeah, and that is Alek Manoah, who's technically
fine. Obviously, we have no idea what we're going to get out of that guy moving forward. Literally no idea, right? Every single person has been bought, and yes, they were good for a time, but right now, you have no idea what you're walking in with in 2025. This is something that needs to be dramatically addressed in the offseason. And moving forward, can we please keep the fucking roof open?
Oh, God.
Was it open or closed?
It had to be closed. It had to be open.
Right.
That's
right.
why.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm referring to, everybody, if you're not familiar, is the recent comments that Chris Bassitt made after yesterday's start. He got rocked. It was 4 innings, 7 earned runs. The first inning, it was just all over the place. The game was over before we even got an out. Like it was really done. And you could see the frustration in him. The second that he got taken out from the game, John Schneider took him out of the game. Bassitt actually, I don't want to say he had a temper tantrum, but it was clear that he was extremely frustrated. Yeah. And I don't know if he came back or not, but it looked like he left the dugout, and then that was it for him. He just left the dugout and he was gone. So obviously very upset. Not a great move to be leaving your team and having to deal with the remaining 5 innings of baseball and kind of clean up your mess that you made. But either way, he then came out after the game and talked about how the roof was open or closed. It was closed, sorry. And that, it was something that he was not ready for. He was not ready for that at all.
Literally the quote, roof closed. Speaking to reporters after Oakland A's lost, Bassitt said his pitches were affected by a closed roof. Roof closed, completely different than roof being open. Wasn't really ready for it, said Bassitt. I had to completely change my mechanics and kind of get the movement I wanted. Now, I want to say this is an excuse regardless of how you look at it. It's an excuse, okay? Whether it be legitimate or not, it's an excuse. Haven't you pitched in a dome before? Why is it now? Now it's an excuse. Why is this like the first time that we're talking about this? That you couldn't get the movement on pitches because the dome's closed. Like you've been a Blue Jay for 2 years. I know you've pitched in Tropicana Field. Why now? It doesn't make any sense. You've probably pitched at Minute Maid Park with the Astros, the Diamondbacks, wherever. Why is it now that we're making these excuses? And regardless how you put it, it's just, again, I think it's just frustration just built up, and he's trying to validate why he got absolutely rocked by one of the worst teams in baseball.
100%. Quick shout out here to 3 Point James, who were just with the dono there, just effectively saying that Bassitt's a comedian right now. And then also to Scott Farr, who's been a member for 2 months, talking about the money and everything like that, which we will get to momentarily. But just to kind of finish the 2 cents here on Chris Bassitt, that is a wild thing to say, right? And I get that you're frustrated, and I understand that. I don't understand. There are things about how that would affect you that I don't get because I'm not an MLB pitcher, and I don't know how the roof being closed would change your break of your sinker by like a dramatic thing. Because he was talking about the inches of break. And
that's the thing. And it's your sinker ball, too. Yeah. Like when R.A. Dickey was on the team, there was actual the roof being open actually affected because the sinker ball or knuckleball just floats.
Right.
And so any movement of wind will move it.
Yeah.
Whereas you're throwing that had no RPM. That had maybe like 2 RPMs, a knuckleball.
Uh-huh.
Your fastball, I don't know what it is, but it's got thousands. How does the roof being closed or open affect your sinker? I don't understand.
Well, it's very simple for me, actually. Didn't bother JP Sears.
Didn't bother JP Sears.
That's all. Really, that's what it is, right? Like, this is a guy who's on the road, who plays on one of the worst teams in baseball, and he took us for a ride for most of yesterday, everybody. And regardless of if the roof is open or closed or whatever, if that's a legitimate problem for you and you need to know that in advance, then I'd imagine because you've been here in Toronto for now a year and a half, you would be communicating with the people who handle such decisions. And you would have dealt with this before, right? There's just so many things where it's just kind of ridiculous. And again, I don't want to get on Bassitt too hard because I still like Chris Bassitt and I still think that he's a quality player for us, and I hope that he can be a quality player for us moving forward. But it is, from a fan standpoint, it is a little disheartening to hear your ace, come out with that after the fact and then also effectively leave mid-game, after he has such a bad outing. It's like, I don't know, man. I think you could have just come out and said, you know what? I pitched like shit today. I pitched like shit today. I feel bad that I put my team in that spot. I want to be better than that. There was something going on the roof. I didn't know, but honestly, I got to take the L on this one. And you could have said that, and it would have been totally fine. It feels like you're honestly putting the onus on something else, which just isn't the type of leader that I think we need right now.
No, it's funny. You brought up that Bassitt's the ace. I think we've probably changed the role of ace multiple times.
We don't have one
over the last 12 months. It was like Gausman, then it was Barrios, and now it was like Bassitt, and then it was like, now who is it?
No,
who's our ace?
There is nobody right now. let's put it this way. Would you be comfortable with any one of these guys starting game 1 of the postseason?
No.
Like,
not at all.
There's not a single player that I'd be like,
No.
oh, yeah, we got a great shot here.
No,
like,
not
I'm
a single
rolling
one.
the dice for every single fucking one of you boys, and I have no idea what I'm going to
Yeah,
do.
what version of you am I going to get today? So, and I think a lot of you in the chat are kind of agreeing that excuse, not really valid. Not really valid.
Not super valid, everybody.
But we do have some other positive news, I guess, if your name is Vladimir Guerrero Jr., because last week, guys, we actually brought this up on the Blue Jays Today show. Jeff Passan came out and was talking on the radio saying that there's no way that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. makes $300 million because he's a first baseman. And we were talking about, we're like, well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense because, money goes up. Vladdy's putting up amazing numbers. He's 25 years old. And then we gave arguments. However, Jeff Passan quickly came back out after that and apparently was contacted by a few executives around baseball saying, you better take that comment back because apparently $300 million is going to be the floor rather than the ceiling for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And if I'm Vladdy, I'm thinking, I already probably thought this way, but the way he's been playing, I think he guarantees that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's great for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's going to get paid a shitload. I think it sucks for the Toronto Blue Jays because you are now going to need to fit the bill. This is something that we've known for a while, though. And you know what? The handling right now of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and his contract, there's still time for this to be okay and to work itself out fine. But with every single passing day that goes by and every single home run and extra base hit and everything like that, you got to be understanding that his value is going up and up and up. And if I was the agency of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I would have a fucking agenda. Like, I'd have a whole binder worth of reasons and notes and explanations as to why you need to hit free agency and why you should not be staying on this middling ball team that, apparently wants to be competitive in 2025 but has no game plan as to how they're going to do it. If I'm that agency right now and I'm looking at your 930 whatever OPS, I'm thinking to myself, that's going to be a lot of money on the open market. The Padres are going to want you. The Yankees are going to, you name it, they're going to want you and they're going to pay up for you right now. If you're the Toronto Blue Jays, it is just so abundantly clear that if you miss out on the extension this offseason, he is well within his right to leave the Blue Jays. And that is something that I do not want to see. But if I was him, I certainly would. If I don't get the respect that I deserve this offseason, I don't get that contract offer that is worthy of the production I am putting on the field.
It's scary if the floor is $300 million, and if you're looking at other teams, that's the floor. The Blue Jays floor, knowing our taxes, knowing you got to pay up a little bit more to get them, our floor is probably like $350, guys. Think about it.
Yeah. Well,
we probably got to pay up more because if you sign him in this offseason, you got to pay a little bit more to convince him to stay, and in his agency, of course.
So I think, knowing his age, and if let's say he finishes this year, because he's probably going to get on that, a little bit over 30 home run mark. He's going to have like that 930 OP. If he stays around where he's at right now, if he finishes the year like that, I think that it is a minimum Rafael Devers contract extension that you need to offer in this contract to even engage in conversations. That's even to open the door right now to seriously start talking. It's like, okay, we're legit. This is the offer. We think you're like Rafael Devers, which I think you can make a strong argument for. This is what we're going to offer you, and now you can at least get it cooking right there. But that is like the literal floor for me at this point if he finishes that year. Because if he was to finishes this year off like this, has that 930 OPS, he's looking good, one more year left. If he does that again, now you're looking at maybe a $400 million guy, right? Considering his age, right? Maybe a $400 million guy. And if I'm him, that starts to seem really appealing to me if I don't get that 330 or 340 or whatever it is this offseason.
And it's got to happen, guys. And I see you actually brought up here that the Blue Jays have never actually offered anybody, they never offered anybody over $200 million, let alone 300.
Yeah, the Score released a great article. Shout out to them, but they're talking about what to look for in the remainder of this Toronto Blue Jays season. One of the things is obviously the future of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And one of the things that concerns me and has been concerning me for a long time is this Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro management. Because under these guys have been here a while, right? 9 years. 9 years of time. You've had some great players. You've seen some great players come and you've seen some great players go. And in that time, extensions is not something that they've done. They've only signed 2 guys, 2 players, 2 contract extensions. 2 extensions. Randall Grichuk and Jose Barrios. Those are the 2 players, only 2. Everybody else that you've ever grown to love or bought their jersey for has walked away at one period of time. That's a real thing that's happened right now. Jose Barrios and Randall Grichuk, the only 2 contract extensions. This is going to blow the doors off of both of what those guys were, like, literally fucking explode.
Randall was like 50, and then Barrios was like 100 teens or something like that.
It was like 120 or
something like that. Yeah.
It's going to blow the doors off that, everybody. So the fact that we've been incapable to get any type of extension done, and you're looking at some of the players that you've had here, Danny Jansen and Teoscar Hernandez, and multiple other guys where it's like, damn, those are good players. Like, I'd like to keep them long term. We've never done it. I don't know if that's a Ross Atkins inability or just a lack of, wanting to get it done or whatever it is. But we better figure it the fuck out pretty soon here, lads, because this is an important player that needs to be here long term.
And I agree. I'm reading some comments right here. I'm not outing everybody, but a lot of people are saying this right now, saying Jay should let Vlad walk because we could sign 3 good free agents for the same money. Here's the thing. If he's getting $350 million, let's say it's 10 years, make it simple. That's like what, 11 million per player you're looking at right now for 3 of them? Well, that's going to buy you a Justin Turner. Is 3 Justin Turners going to put you in the playoffs? I don't think so. Because you're going to have no Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leading the charge. And those kind of players, you can grow those quality players that are worth $11, $12 million in your farm system if you have a capable farm system for a lot cheaper. I think you got to go sign a superstar. They don't grow on trees.
No, they don't, right? It is very tough to acquire. Now, I do see Lisa or Andy in here effectively saying that, he's afraid that the Jays will need to cash in on Vladdy, get some new players, because he's afraid that he's going to walk. Okay. I wouldn't love to see it, but that to me is a lot better than not doing anything. And that's why this offseason is so important, because this is the time to put it all on the table. Offer him what you're willing to offer. Get it down to that number. If the line is 350, if that is your line, and he doesn't accept that, you need to know in this offseason, because now at least you can walk into the remainder and go, all right, well, we did everything we fucking could here. It's got to be a trade. That's the only other option. We did everything we could. He's not willing to accept our best offer. We're going to have to trade him away. But now you know that. Now you can make that decision. What you don't want to have happen is just kind of middle around and whatever and take your time and whatnot. And then it's like, oh, well, we can get it done later. And then the trade deadline passes and now he's fucking in free agency. You got nothing at all and you haven't extended him either. Well, it's one of the 2.
That's the Ross Atkins special, Nick. It's either we middle around or we get it done. It feels like we're going to either middle around. I'm leaning more towards what's scary. I think we're going to middle around. Just knowing this management. I'm just saying.
I can't fully disagree with you, man, based on what we've seen in the past, folks.
Let's move on. Oh, yeah, before we move on, why don't we actually give a reward to the guy who will soon be a multi-millionaire and make more money than any of you guys?
Yeah.
Let's give a big shout out to the Jay of the Week. Music went away, but you know who it is. It's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., everybody. It's Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
3rd consecutive week for Vladdy, guys. He's going crazy. I think he batted like 380 this week. Continuing to destroy the baseball and really our only player of just high caliber right now. Now, Jose Barrios did have a good shout. 7 innings, 1 earned run. We've been shitting all over the starters. He had a great outing, and that is something you need to see. His ERA is now below 4. Please stay there. End the season like that. We need to see it. But Guerrero just doing so much on the offensive side of the baseball right now. Like, it feels like he's hitting at will.
Yeah, no, he's great. I mean, the OPS at a 1.2 and everything up there. They're 380 batting average. I mean, until somebody shows up on this team, whether pitching or offensively, Vladdy's going to continue to rake in these Jays of the Week.
Yeah.
And
That's the thing. Like, there's actually
there's nobody else.
He is playing incredible, but there's no competition. You know what I mean? Like, if you were on like the New York Yankees or the Dodgers or something like that, he might have these weeks and still lose. There's no one that's even close to this.
Yo, actually, fun question. Boo Must Die in the chat here saying, will Bo ever be Jay of the Week ever again? He's never won one this year.
That's interesting.
Just took it in. Yeah, I have a little counter here, guys. Vlad's knocking out of the park. He's got 6 on the year. the next two are Gosman and Horwitz, both at 2.
Okay.
No one else.
Wow.
Nobody
Will
else.
Bo ever be Jay of the Week ever again? That's you know what?
Probably,
honestly,
next year. I do think Bo will bounce back. It's like it's one of those baseball things where like, what the hell happened this year? I don't know.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, he's back now. He's too good to like. He's been so consistent. It's such a steep drop that it feels weird. Like it wasn't gradual. It feels like an outlier.
Well, there's considering a potential trade variable and considering an injury variable, and then also poor performance. I would agree with you. Probably he'll get one more before things are done, but it's probably closer than we might think, just considering everything that's going on with Bo Bichette. Good question right there, guys. Good question. Let's move on. And do we want to wrap up the series that just transpired, the kind of the shittiest series of the season?
Yeah, I mean, arguably. I mean, yeah, we won on Friday. It was, and then that was an exciting game. That was a pretty good one. I was live for that. You were there actually. It was very interesting. I forget. Remind me who pitched in that one. That was Jose Barrios.
Jose Barrios.
7 innings. Dominated. Great stuff there. Vladdy continued the hit streak. Horwitz with a homer.
Yep.
Glad to see that bounce back because again, like we're gonna need him to kind of have this team moving forward. And then on Saturday, thank God I didn't watch this game. 1-0. You had Yariel Rodriguez dominating. He actually did a very good week. 5 2/3 innings pitch and gave up. I believe it was it just the 1 earned run. Actually, again, I don't have the stats right here, but the Blue Jays offense, we had 2 hits, and it was Ernie Clement and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Right.
And that was it. That was. I thought, okay, outlier. We've been so good lately, so good. We'll bounce back and beat them Sunday. And then you had the whole Bassitt performance, and we know where that went. And we were done in the first inning. We were live for that. There was not a chance we were getting back there.
No, man. When they dropped 6 in the first, like that's game over for almost anybody. And the Toronto Blue Clowns aren't coming back from that. We also lost out on Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s hit streak that day as well, which sucks to see. I mean, foiled by the Oakland Athletics. Are you serious? Come on. Not all his fault though. I mean, like he did end up getting 4 opportunities, but like that offense as a whole was just anemic for most of yesterday. Got to be better.
You know, it's funny. Actually, the A's are tied with Kansas City for the best record after the All-Star break.
That is crazy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, everybody.
But let's move on and let's forget about that ugly series. Let's face another team that was sellers at the deadline and who are also actually just a little bit worse than the Toronto Blue Jays. You've got the LA Angels. We're going over there tonight, guys. 9:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you East Coasters, you're going to have to stay up late to watch this one. Bowden Francis versus Daniel. Daniel has only made 7 starts, I believe it is. Let me check right here. He's only made a few starts, 5 starts, excuse me. And he has a 6.04 ERA, whereas Bowden Francis has been low-key cooking everybody. I brought this up a little bit earlier. His last, I guess you could say 4 starts, 0 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 0 earned runs, 2 earned runs. Pretty solid. Actually, this might have been an opener right here, but his last, he got blown up on August 4th. What was this? Was he a bullpen guy? Oh, he was a bullpen appearance. That's what it was. So his last 2 starts, technically, 3 earned runs, 2 earned runs. Not bad for Bowden Francis.
It's not, again, Bowden Francis has been doing okay. Like, he's not completely selling every time he's on the bump, but it really does come down to, like, what is your offense going to do? Daniel is a very hittable pitcher, and these LA Angels are not good at baseball, everybody. One of the few teams that are worse than us.
Yeah. We said that about the A's, though.
We said that about the A's. Things did change. I do think that we're going to win this series, and I think it is going to start this evening. So I'm going to give the Toronto Blue Jays a slight edge in this one. Hopefully the offense just does all of it for us.
I'm going to say we also win this game. I think Bowden maybe on a little bit of a bender. Fun fact, none of our hitters and none of their hitters have faced the other opposing pitcher. So
wow, no idea.
No idea. So I think maybe Bowden will get the better of them. I have a bet coming up for this game, guys. But before we do, let's give a shout out to the sponsor of this show.
Whoa! Time for your daily Betway breather. A quick reminder that the best place to bet is on Betway. Must be 19 years of age or older to play. In collaboration with iGaming Ontario, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being absolutely phenomenal, everybody. You are riding with...
the over on the runs.
Understandable.
The over on the runs. You got 2 pitchers that are absolutely, again, not great. Again, Bowden's been great, but we also have Blue Jays bullpen coming in a little bit later. And even though both offenses aren't amazing, again, pitching staffs have been pretty bleak, and that is the line that they're giving you, 9.5. So it's a little bit higher multiplier. I like to shoot for the upside, so I'm running with that for today.
Yeah, it feels like offense is going to be plentiful tonight just because both of the pitchers are abysmal. Moving on to game number 2, everybody. You do got Kevin Gausman going up against Fulmer. Fulmer's been decent. You know about Kevin Gausman. It's a good start. It's a bad start. It's a good start. It's a bad start. We have no idea what it is that we are going to get from him at any point. What are we thinking on that one?
I mean, Fulmer's been decent. I would love to see his stuff, though. I mean, ERA. I mean, Gausman's, yeah, you're right. He's been good. He's been bad. I feel like I got to ride with it a little bit. I'm trying to look at his game logs here. So I wish they had on this MLB website, they had, what is his fastball velocity? Because if it's like an upper fastball guy, I'm like, oh, we're cooked. We can't handle a lot of our guys.
He's a bit of an opener, though.
He looks like a bit of an opener until recently. I think they're giving him more playing time because I guess they must have more rotation spots after the deadline. And he's been cooking a little bit. This might be more competitive than we think.
I always thought it was going to be competitive. With Kevin Gausman, you have no idea.
At least in this game, yeah.
I think we're gonna lose one. I'll say it's this one.
Okay, I'll say we lose this one too, and then we go to Jose Barrio. Oh shoot, we're going up against Tim Anderson, everybody. We're going up against Tim Anderson. Why didn't they trade this guy? Remember he was one of the guys that traded
there
him?
was talks about him. Tyler Anderson's been very, very, very good at baseball this year. Jose Barrios had a great outing last time. I said that we're going to win the series, so I'm going to say that offense comes to life today, and they win that one as well.
You know what? I'm going to say we lose. I'm going to say we lose the series. We're on the road. The time difference is all messed up. You got Anderson here. Barrios is going to have a great start, so he's going to have a bad start next. I don't know. I feel like we're going to be so down in the dumps. He's a lefty. He's going to cook our lefties, and we're going to be in the dumps.
I mean, again, it's really not, that's not a terrible prediction. At the end of the day, their record is 2 games away from ours, and they're at home. So you could say that this is effectively as even as it could possibly be. So, I mean, we could win, we could lose. At this point, you're looking at 2 of the worst teams in baseball, everybody.
That's right.
I feel like if you lose to the Oakland Athletics, though, you gotta bounce back and beat the A's.
You have
the Angels.
You have to. The fact that we lost the Athletics at home is just abysmal.
One of the worst series of the year.
Hey, Scott Farr saying, "Welcome home, Superman Pilar." I love that guy. Yeah, we will see Pilar in this series, guys. So stay up late if you're on the East Coast and watch that guy go rob some balls at the wall. That'd be cool.
100%, everybody. Let's get to the final segment of this video and spin the wheel.
The spinning fortune, baseball, colorful, future determining, stat analyzing, and it's a wheel that we spin every week.
It is, in fact, a wheel that we spin every single week, everybody. Let us know if you've been following along with the wheel so far this season. It's a close battle right up until the finish line. Good week for me last week. 24-22 is the score. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just continues to carry in everything right now. I'm feeling good about it.
And honestly, I think the winner of this wheel will be the one who gets the most offensive categories from here on out.
It might be. It really might be, right? Because unless Guerrero gets injured, you just feel like he's a shoe-in for
a lock.
For effectively everything.
Because in all our categories here, we had Vladimir Guerrero Jr. In most of these categories. Oh wait, did I mess up here? I think I might have messed up, dude. I think we might be tied. Because I'm looking at OPS. Vladdy had that OPS for your category. Based on balls, we tied. And then I had Vladdy for average. I just assumed you had Vladdy for average. I think I might have messed up here.
Okay, well.
I think we might be tied.
Well, we will adjust after the fact if that is in fact the case. But if that's true, then
we'll make an adjustment.
Yeah, that is very close, everybody. But it is Adam's week.
Yeah.
So let's spin it and see what it's going to be.
Let's see, guys. Guys, let us know in the chat who you would pick if you got this category. And if it's offense, it's pretty obvious. That is an average. You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. I'm going with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the batting average.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. Let me take a quick look right here at the Toronto Blue Jays in the past little bit.
You did have Varsho cooking.
Varsho.
Varshow's cooking.
That doesn't seem like something that's gonna continue.
Yo, Varsho gets hot for 1 week and then he falls the hell off. It's so last 15 days. Ernie's got a 308. Kirk's got a 333.
Good,
You could go Kirk.
Kirk is doing kind of.
Wagner says, no, bro. Earn Dog, Kirk. 2 people saying Kirk. Either.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go Alejandro Kirk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Alejandro Kirk.
Yeah, let's go Kirk.
I mean, at the end of the day, you probably lose the categories that don't have Vlad, so I might as well just shoot
your shot.
For the upside, you know?
Shoot your shot. Okay, there you go.
All
Kirk
right, second category,
Vlad.
everybody. Let's spin and find out what it's gonna be.
Let's go. And it's gonna be, give me an offensive. That's gonna be average again. Let's respin, everybody, respin. I praise Houston gets what in October goes off? Hot in October. We got base on balls. All right, I'm gonna go Vlad.
Understandable. That feels right.
Yep, I'm gonna go Vladdy. Even though Horwitz tied me the category last week.
I get the category. Hey, what else we got going on?
Who else getting walks?
Yeah, I'm trying to find that out right now. Last 15 days.
Soto says Carl Anthony. Horwitz says Emmerich.
Springer's got 5 in the last 15 days. Dalton's got 5 in the last 15 days. Guerrero is leading the charge. Horwitz has 4 in the last 15 days. I mean, like, yeah, it's really, like, Guerrero is obviously leading everybody right now. And then after that, like, you just have no idea.
New bro saying Will Wagner.
I'm going to go with... I'm gonna go George Springer and just you kind of hope that because he'll get the most at bats, he'll have an opportunity to pick up a lot of walks and that'll just be what that is. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Final category. I'm gonna be able to pick first on this one. 2 Guerreros right now in the offense. That's pretty nice.
That feels good. And this one's gonna be a K per 9. That's kind of the one. That's honestly what I'm hoping for, guys. That was what I was hoping for.
Yeah, K per 9 is a rough one. I have no idea at this point, like who is doing anything for us. Actually, I'll tell you right now, it's not a lot. It's really not a lot. In the last 15 days, you got Chris Bassitt just over. That's crazy that he's actually over. He's got 17 and 15 innings. Barrios a little bit over as well. Gosman is just not striking anybody out.
Whoa.
He's like literally no strikeouts at all.
Wow. That's crazy. He's only at 4 and 12. Yeah, it's because the splitter's not splitting.
Like there's no strikeouts coming from him at all whatsoever.
We got Barrios.
Yeah, like honestly, I might have to go Jose Barrios.
That seems right.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, gonna have to go Jose Barrios on that one.
That does seem right. I'm gonna go. Let me take a peek here and put Barrios in for you. And I'm gonna go get this wheel thing back up here. Where are we, wheel? Here we go. I'm gonna go. I mean, Uriel or Chris Bassitt?
They're both around the same. Like they're kind of around, everyone's in the same mix.
Oh, we got Chicago this weekend. Okay, they're kind of dookie too. I guess I'll go Chris Bassitt. I mean,
I think that's the right choice, man. Again, like I think that, this is a complete crapshoot. There is no favorite. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. Like, you could win. I could win.
Pitchers used to be so obvious. Now it's like,
no idea.
No idea.
Absolutely no idea, everybody. Okay, so there you have it. That's the wheel spin. Adam's rocking with 2 Guerreros, which feels good, but
it does feel good.
Who knows? Maybe this is the week where Springer takes a lot of walks and Kirk just hits like a demon, and maybe Barrios just gets a lot of strikeouts. Let us know who you're riding with in the comments down below, everybody. And let us know your thoughts about everything that we talked about today. Chris Bassitt. I mean, for you better fucking hope that the roof is open and not closed whenever
it will be
pitching.
So, it will be.
There you go. That is very important, everybody. We appreciate all of you guys. Hit the like, smash the subscribe button, and as always,
go Jays, go!